Bob, do we have a quorum?
You do now. Mr. Patterson is here, Andrea's here, you're here, Jim Leffers is here, Brett is here, and Mike Gerhardt is here.
Great. Well, why don't we start then? We do have a quorum. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Warren Planning Board, Monday, November 23rd. Our first order of business is a request for a continuance to the December 28th meeting for a comprehensive permit application, master plan stage AP 20, lot 16, 159, 164, Kinnicut Avenue and Denver Avenue, applicant and owner Last Ever Realty. We're being asked to continue that. We have been informed that the applicant has essentially stopped the clock so that we're not under the gun for approaching this. And the reason for that is that there are a number of factors, including but not limited to a flow meter that is checking the flow on the sewage lines that come that would connect to that proposed development. For that, I need a motion to accept the request for continuance.
I make a motion to accept the request for continuance.
Mr. Bobine makes the motion.
Can I have a second? Jim Patterson. Bob, do you want to?
Jim, can you just unmute yourself, please? Or raise your
motion.
Mr. Gerhardt seconds the motion. I'll do the roll call. Mr. Bobine,
Yes.
Mr. Gerhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
Ms. Giles,
Yes.
Mr. Leffers. Jim, can you just give me a hand signal or unmute yourself?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Okay. The matter is continued to the, hey, Mr. Massey, sorry. You're moving on my screen. The matter is continued to the December planning board meeting.
Okay, I'm going to now call the meeting to order. There is no old business. Under new business, we have a pre-application for a comprehensive permit, AP3, lots 39 and 41, 31 Norbert Street. The owner is Michael F. and Carol A. Riley. The applicant is for an the applicant's name is HUS Development. We have seen this in part before, but there have been fairly extensive revisions to the plan that the Rileys are bringing before us. So that information was sent out to you in an email by Bob. And I guess we'll have the applicant speak, or Bob, did you want to?
The applicant is here as well as his architect and somebody representing his engineer. So I think Michael Abbott, do you want to start, or EJ, did you want to start?
Sure, I can make an introduction. Good evening to the board. My name is EJ Lanny, along with my partner, my business partner, Louis Cagney. We represent the Who's Companies. We're a local builder and developer, and we've been chosen by the Rileys. We have this project under contract, and we have spent a lot of time on developing a really nice concept for the town that we think will be a great addition to the Main Street area. This is being done as an affordable housing project, and we have 25% affordable housing included in the current design. We've been in contact with Rhode Island Housing, and we've got, we're currently in review with the Rhode Island Housing Authority at this point, but we've got the site visit complete, and we are expecting approval within the next coming week or two.
And these are for sale, affordable?
That's correct. Yes, for sale, affordable. So the project has been designed as a 16-unit development with 25% affordable. Therefore, we'd have 4 affordable units. We've spent a lot of time on the architecture and development to take into account and be respectful of the surrounding architecture, both on Main Street and on Norbert Street. With me today, this evening, we have Michael Abbott, who is a principal at Newport Collaborative Architects. He's done the lion's share of the design for the project. In addition, we have Molly Titus from Dupree Engineering, who's handling the civil portion of the project. If Michael's available at this time, I'd like to turn it over to him to essentially walk you through some of the cliff notes on the design. We'll also hear from Molly to speak to some of the engineering points, including our grading, soil capacity, and how we're handling the civil design for these 2 pieces of land. Michael, are you available to speak to the plan?
Yes.
Michael, you should be able to share your screen. If not, I can share mine.
Okay, it's not sharing. Okay.
Michael, I could share mine too, with what was submitted in our set.
Okay, go ahead and it's not sharing.
You got it.
Can you start with sheet 1?
I have A1 up, I hope.
No, I mean, start with the cover sheet and we'll just kind of go through. I want to flip through a little bit.
Well, I have what was in my set, so the cover sheet is mine.
Okay.
Maybe we could have Bob. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. We all know where the site is. We're at the corner of Main and Norbert Street. The site was formerly a parking lot. That's what it currently is today. 100% paved as parking for the church that was there that the Rileys purchased a couple years ago. And as part of the redevelopment, there are 2 lots that are separate from the entire parking lot. And that's a corner lot on the corner of Main and Norbert, and then a larger lot down on Norbert Street itself toward the bike path. So our project encompasses both parcels. And slight correction, we have 15 units depicted, not 16. And if we can have the next page. We all know that this is a very critical site to Warren's development because it's in the really expanding and in northern Warren area that's around the mill and American Tourister and the bike path and the river and the marinas. So this is a really critical area to Warren's development. And what we're proposing is an infill development that actually takes advantage of property that's already underutilized or misused, in this case being a paved parking lot, and turning it back into a useful product. In this case, 15 units, 4 of which will be affordable. Next page. Again, the parcel, Molly can speak to this a little bit. This is the survey, so I'm not going to really dwell on this because this has other information that Molly will talk about. Next. So when you look at the property, you can see that there's still a large parking area that will be associated with the church that will take care of their residential use and their retail use that they have for their shop in the church. So by taking off the parcel on the corner and the parcel at the rear, we're not really diminishing available parking in the immediate area. When I look at the parcel on Nobert and Main Street, what we're proposing there are 3 buildings, one that basically faces Main Street, and then 2 that face onto Nobert Street. These are our workforce units, or live work units, as we like to call them, where these include retail along with the individual townhouse unit. So the 2 that face onto Main Street, the first floor of those 2 units are retail establishments that face out onto Main Street with a corner tower entrance that really will help turn the corner architecturally and relate to the church and the way its tower frames Main Street. So 2 retail establishments on the first floor, and then up above, there's 2 2-bedroom, 2-bath units above. Then the buildings 2 and 3 are individual standalone buildings that have their retail on the second floor, and then a townhouse unit also on the second and third floors. On the first floor of buildings 2 and 3, we have parking. Then when I move to the parcel further back on Nobert, we have 4 buildings back there. Building 4, which faces onto Nobert Street, and then buildings 5, 6, and 7 form around a courtyard that's accessed off of private drive that comes off of Nobert into an enclosed courtyard where the word site is. And so those units are all townhouse units where they have parking on the lower level and an accessory office, and then a 2.5, 2-bed, 2-bath unit townhouse on top. So these units are all townhouses. They are built up above parking because of the way we're in the flood zone, and we have an imaginative way to get around that. Molly can speak a little bit more to that, but we're going to be elevating that courtyard portion of the site so that we can enter the buildings above the floodplain. Next page. So when you look at the, this is the same drawing in effect, but in architectural drawing parlance. You can see units 1 and 2 that are the 2 retail stores and the 2 townhouses that face onto Main Street. They each have 2 cars parking associated with each unit. Then you can see buildings 3 and 4, which have 2-car parking each for them. And additionally, we're providing 6 additional spaces that will be available for rent to the neighborhood. Further down, then on Nobert Street, each of the townhouse units has either a single car garage, as in 5, 6, 7, and 8, or a 2-car garage, as in 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So again, we can meet all of our parking that's required and then some. The parking requirement, I believe, is 1.5 units per 1.5 spaces per unit. We're providing 2 per unit, and we're providing 6 additional parking spaces that will be available to the neighborhood. As I said, when we look at the Nobert portion of the site where we have the courtyard, the building space onto the courtyard, but then in the rear, each unit has a rear yard that then goes to the property line. And then we have two communal areas for common use by the development, the two corners of the site where we anticipate building an outdoor terrace area with outdoor barbecue fire pit so that the tenants can use these outdoor spaces in a communal fashion besides their private rear yards. Next page. Okay, this drawing depicts the buildings as they would look for the corner of Main and Norbert. So when you look at the top of the page, you see three elevations together with a tower, and that is the corner building. And again, as I said, we have two retail shops on the first floor and then two townhouses above that. And they're designed to kind of be a very kind of New Englandy clapboard and shingle and double hung window, 2/2 windows. The tower signifies the entrance into the one store, which has outdoor space and is possible. It could be a cafe. It could be a gallery space. It could be a retail shop, but with outdoor space associated with it. And you enter in through the tower. You also then can enter in from the two door entrances that face onto Main Street. The building in the lower left-hand corner are the two buildings that are separate units, but they're joined on the second floor by an outdoor deck. And that joins their two retail spaces. So these buildings share an outdoor space on the second floor. And so their live workspace is at the front of the unit. And then the rear of the unit is a 2-story townhouse unit again, 2-bed, 2-bath. And when you look at the elevations in the lower right-hand corner, you can see the lowest right hand are what the buildings would look like facing onto Norbert. And then the one immediately to the left of that shows how we have parking, open parking, and a garage parking underneath those two buildings. Next page. The courtyard units are townhouse units at the rear on the Norbert lot. Next page. And you can see with these elevations, they have a 2-car parking garage on the lower level and an office space at the rear of the first floor. Or it could be a guest bedroom. It could be lots of different uses, but it's their extra bonus room, so to speak. And then upstairs are their 2-bed, 2.5-bath townhouses. So at the bottom of the page, you can see the elevation. We have shingle and clapboard again, with the townhouse units having double hung windows, 2/2, pitched roofs. Again, to make them stand out as individual units, we anticipate that we'll probably paint them in different colors, so each person will have their own identity in the courtyard. And that pretty much is a quick overview.
Michael or EJ, are these going to be a condominium?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So all the units are, whether they're affordable or not, they'll be for sale. Is that right?
They're all for sale. That's correct. I just want to say, Norman, I know you have your hand up, but we'll get to you when the applicant gets through with their presentation.
I had a question for the architect, though. What's the square footage of these units?
Well, they vary. Each unit is a little different.
I
So
can tell.
yeah, they vary from like 1,200 square feet to almost 2,000.
Thank you.
Molly, did you want to continue?
Sure. This is Molly Titus from Deprete Engineering. We're doing the civil design on the project, and as Michael mentioned, we've got a frontage on North Main Street and Norbert Street. There's a floodplain that bisects this back half of Lot 41, and this is the area where the townhouses with the courtyard and the buildings proposed elevated will be located. So we'll have the courtyard and finished floor elevations well above the base flood elevation in this area, which is 13, based on the existing conditions survey. As Michael mentioned, here's the site plan. So we've got development at the corner of North Main and Norbert, and also interior Norbert in the former parking lot area. This area is completely paved, at least at this time, both here and here. The front lot 39, drains out into Norbert Street and flows down the right of way undetained for stormwater. Lot 41 drains to an existing catch basin at the corner of the site, but there's no water quality improvements at this time. We've done soil testing on the lots and dug test pits and performed borings for soil capacity and also the ability to infiltrate on this site. There's a few feet of fill that was placed during the development of these areas for past developments, but underlain by clean, clear sand, which is the best material you can ask for infiltration and water quality on a site. So we'll be utilizing infiltration with beneath these paved areas for water quality. It'll be a considerable improvement over what's out there now. Utilities are all located within Norbert Street. We've got water, sewer, gas, and overhead power. And these developments will be fed from Norbert Street, and there'll be no cuts out into North Main Street or impacts to that area for this development to take place. That's all the exciting civil stuff I have for now.
I just want to add that the fire chief had some concerns about the congestion on Norbert Street and the provision for the off-street parking for the benefit of other Norbert residents was in response to the fire chief's concerns with respect to getting down that narrow road, which is already a problem before there's development. Is there anything else that the applicants would like to state before I go to members of the board? And then I believe we have some members from the public.
I think that's all for now, Bob. Thank you.
Okay. Andrea, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah. Would you be using the existing surface for the courtyard, or would you be putting something new in there? What exactly is going to be that surface?
No, that'll be a raised area. Right now, we're looking at pervious pavers as a surface, but it'll be a hard drivable surface within that courtyard for the vehicles.
Thank you.
Do other members of the planning board have, Mr. Gerhart?
So do you have a landscape plan for the site or not?
They'll need one when they file their application. This is just a preliminary.
Or could we have an idea of what they have in mind for landscaping?
Michael, do you
You
want
have
to?
not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
I think that might be Michael coming back in.
No, I'm still here. I don't know who left.
Oh, I don't know who that is then.
Okay, the landscape that we're looking at is the four corners basically all get developed as landscaped areas with new trees, the previous terraces and fire pits that I talked about. They may or may not be fenced. We're not sure yet. There's fence all the way around the property at this point, chain link fence. So we're not sure whether we'll continue that or whether we'll put up a board type fence. And then along like unit 5, we would be doing continuous, probably arborvitae hedge down that side of the property. And the other 3 corners then are landscaped with trees and shrubs and more evergreens at the edges.
Thank you.
So just add from a development standpoint, we feel that this being an urban infill project, that it's important to create a sense of community. And especially in the courtyard units, we want that courtyard to have a look and a feel of being a place. And we think that an important aspect of that is to have some open outdoor spaces. And I think Michael has done a nice job in the corners of the lot to leave those open so that they could be used by the residents, for outdoor activities, and we could have some plantings there, potentially some patios and communal space for picnic tables or, children's play area, etc.
I have a question, I think for Molly. How many formal curb cuts are there on the site aside from the entrance to the rear courtyard?
The edge of Norbert Street, so like this is a new curb cut onto Main. This edge of Norbert is basically not curbed. There's at least 2 openings now, if not 3. There's very wide open. I would anticipate this will be less curb opening than there is now onto Norbert Street.
And the main entrance would be off of North Main by where the church is now?
These 2 parking stalls do back onto North Main for this unit 2.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Landry, I see you have your hand up.
Wait a second, Bob, like to have the planning board speak first?
Mr. Landry might be, I don't know if he's here representing the applicant or not. He's on mute.
Mr. Rulli, I had difficulty getting in on earlier. Do I assume correctly the other matter was just continued?
It was.
Okay, thank you. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay, any other members of the planning board have any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to say that this is, from a conceptual and architectural standpoint and a reuse of land, this is perhaps one of the best pre-applications I've seen in a decade or more in this town. You're to be commended for the thoughtfulness of the approach on this. And I am truly impressed and looking forward to seeing more of this project as it moves forward. That really extraordinary use of land and the kind of thing that I think fits into the comprehensive plan so well. It's a reuse of existing developed land that, as you noted in the beginning of your presentation, is not utilized. So this is, and to add in the 25% affordable housing stock, this really is a home run conceptually at this point.
Do any other members of the planning board have any comments or questions?
Bob, just a quick question. This is Brett Bobian. Do you have an estimate of the time frame to completion if this were to be approved, the build period at least?
At this point, we're looking actually into some various construction and building methods that may assist us reduce the total time frame, including modular wall systems. As you can see, the rear courtyard is it's logistically needs to be thought through construction wise. So we're thinking between 18 and 24 months.
Thank you.
Bob, I have a quick comment. The applicant
is the solicitor.
The applicant state unit 1, 2, and 3 is where the low moderate units are going to be located.
That's correct. All the buildings on the corner of Norbert and Main Street are designated to be affordable.
Sure. So just as a friendly reminder, one of the findings on this comprehensive permit is a finding the board has to make is that the affordable units have to be integrated throughout the project. And that's something to think about as you go forward and plan, get into the real meat and potatoes of this.
I mean, I get where you're going with that, Ben, but I think given the configuration of the site and the more utilitarian use of those. Duly noted. Let's just leave it at that for the time being.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it just in
Yep.
case it can be worked in.
Does anyone else have any questions from the board?
So will you require any zoning variances?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to, that's why, I mean, it's a comprehensive permit.
I
So, I
understand.
mean, there's definitely going to need some, they're not going to have to go to zoning. That's why it's a comprehensive permit.
So, but as with our other app, we had a list of what the zoning variances would be.
But they haven't filed their application yet. That's what, that gets included on their application. This is just a concept review.
No, I get it. Actually, just a quick comment. It seems to me that they haven't maximized the site the way some developers do, and I think that's a good thing. So I think that counts in their favor.
Well, they've maximized what they own.
Would they have put more units on here? Probably.
They wouldn't have been able to park it. I know Mr. Blank, who is in a butter, is present. Norman, did you want to ask a question or make any comments?
Yes, if you could go
Norman,
back.
if you would just say your name and your address for the record, please.
Okay, Norman Blank. I live at 34 Hope Street, and I also own 32 Hope Street. If you could go back to that screen, that overhead view. That's the one. This house here, I don't know if you can see my thing. This is my driveway that goes back to my back house, which is, you enter it from Hope Street.
Right.
My concern is for my tenants back there, how are they gonna be able to get in and out if this, it looks like you're right on the property line. So I have a concern about my parking for my tenants in the rear, for both houses. You can see the 5 cars that are parked there. That's typically what's there now, but it could be up to 7, depending on who moves in or out.
So what you're saying is historically, people have cheated over the property line to access those units?
Yeah, pretty much. Historically, for over 100 years, this has been a throughway from Hope Street to Norbert Street, and the entire neighborhood, and even the town trash trucks and everything would cut through there. Typically, this driveway that from Hope Street is my property. It's really not it's not a town road or anything. It's actually the driveway for the back house. So, you know, how are my tenants going to be able to turn around and get in and out of that area with these buildings and on top of the property line like that? That's my, I think the whole plan is great and it's good for the area, but I have that one little problem.
And do you want to weigh in on this? I mean, the property line designates the ownership, you know, where their property ends. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Norman, but, you know, a potential remedy is that you might have to potentially lose some of the lawn as you come in off of Hope Street to widen that entrance to give better access to those units. I'm not suggesting that is the answer, but I mean, and I'll let the solicitor talk to, you know, with respect to property law, but I mean, they're entitled to do what they want to do on their property. The parking for.
I understand that, so I'm just kind of asking here. I'm not, you know, trying to fight this or anything, but you know, if there's something that can be done so my tenants having easier access. I don't know. They said this is, that property line is going to be. Is there going to be a fence there?
EJ or Michael, did you want to?
Yeah,
It probably will be because that's their rear yard of units 14 and 15. That's their rear yard. So I'm anticipating there probably would be a fence along there.
How much space is that actually? It's tough to tell, but how much spaces are you talking about there? Is that? doesn't look
10,
like-
12 feet.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much of a yard.
All right, well, again, this is preliminary, so your concerns are noted. Anything else you wanted to say about it, Norman?
No, that's all I had.
And is there anyone else from the public that would like to comment on the plan or ask any questions? I would just say hit the raise your hand icon so I can see you. And if not, Molly, I'd ask if you would stop the screen share. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, anything you'd like to add?
No, again, I've said my piece on this. I do think that the owners can chat with Mr. Blank, but as you've noted, that's their property. And I understand his concern, but it does look like there's land there that he owns that could be utilized to increase the size of that access point.
Andrea, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. Just sorry to follow on. I was just wondering about the effect of that large of a paved area in the middle of all of those buildings. Is there be a sound problem or echoing problem with that kind of configuration?
I don't think so, because the buildings have lots of ins and outs. So I think that, and the corners are open, so the sound would go out the corners. I don't know if you can see, but there's little stairs that go down between each of the buildings. So there is a gap between each of the buildings. So I don't, if the buildings were touching and totally in an enclosed box, there might be a little bit of echo, but they're basically separate and far enough apart that the sound should just leak out, so to speak.
Thank you.
Bob, at this point, we're being asked to provide a recommendation to approve the pre-application.
No, there's no vote or up. I mean, it's just, this is, so they can finalize what their actual application is going to be.
Right.
It's a chance to hear comments and questions, but there's no vote that's taken.
Right. Okay. Well, again, it ticks all the boxes from my standpoint on the comprehensive plan, which is, to me, the basis by which the planning board makes decisions. So the devil is in the details, obviously, and we look forward to seeing this as it evolves. But a very good start here, and more than just a start, really.
I prefer the saying God is in the detail, not the devil is in the detail.
Well, it depends on, I recently sacrificed a goat, so it depends on what your preferences are for worship.
Well, I want to thank you very much. I'm excited about this project as well. I agree with the chair that I think as an infill project, this is a great project. I think this is very much in the spirit of what the comprehensive permit is in place to do. And we look forward to seeing your formal application come in and keep this moving through the process.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to the board
Thank you.
for all of your time. Appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have no reports or special items. We do have an administrative officer report regarding the withdrawal of the Blount Boat Master Plan application. This came about as a result of the sense that the applicant had that their original application had a number of obstacles to its realization. Bob, perhaps you can provide the board with a bit more information.
Yeah, so the chair and I received a letter on Sunday from Mr. Titus indicating that he was withdrawing the master plan application as well as his request for the 2 zoning amendments, ordinance and map from the town council. The expectation is that They will now be going before zoning, and will treat the project in phases. They will need to come back before planning for development review and a recommendation or opinion to the zoning board. But I think we can keep that meeting relatively short because we've seen this proposal ad nauseum over the last year. But that's where that stands. So the attorney did compliment the planning board for their patience and thoroughness in terms of their review. Again, as it proceeds, we'll see it again probably right after the first of the year.
In terms of administrative matters, we're looking at the 2021 meeting dates, and we do have to vote on those.
Yep, so all of them are typically the fourth Monday with the exception of July. I'm optimistic that next July at that time, I will be racing my gravel bike over in Iceland, assuming that there is a vaccine that works and that Iceland will let people in. So if you don't mind, I'd like to move that meeting up a week so that I could be there.
I see no problem with that, as long as you have pictures of you with your horned helmet aboard your bicycle in Iceland.
The horned helmet perhaps would have beer in it, but
So Bob will be a Viking in July. So the request is to move it 1 week earlier, Bob?
yes, that's correct.
Okay. Any further changes, any concerns that people have? As always, we do have flexibility in our meetings, and also we occasionally do have special meetings as we have in the recent past. So if everyone approves and it looks okay with the adjustment of July being, that would be July 11th. Bob?
Let me just pull it up, sorry.
No worries.
It'll be July 18th.
Oh, okay, so it is correct on the, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, great. All right, can I have a motion to accept the meeting dates as noted?
I so move.
Mr. Patterson makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Bobian, oh,
2
Andrea?
seconds. We'll redo the roll call. Mr. Massey,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson,
Aye.
Ms. Giles,
aye.
Mr. Leffers,
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart,
Aye.
Mr. Bobian,
aye.
Mr. Dixon.
Aye.
It is a unanimous.
Great. Well, that concludes our program for the night. Unless there's any pressing matters that any of the board members have or concerns. Not
Is
hearing.
there-
What's the date for December?
The 28th.
28th.
And
My sense is that, and just part of the delay on Settlers Green, just I'll give you a little bit more background, is that, we've had concerns with respect to sewer line on Metacom. A flow meter has been installed, but typically you like that flow meter to be in there for an extended period of time, 90 to 180 days. So there's a reasonable chance that this will once again be continued in December because we've only had it in there for about 45 days now. And we're not necessarily getting accurate information in terms of the fact that we had a very dry summer and fall. The groundwater levels aren't to where they would be normally. And then there's also some questions with respect to the building materials that are going to be used for the four-story building and how that relates to fire protection codes. We haven't been provided that information yet. So, Mr. Landry has agreed to stop the clock for, any kind of deadlines. And, the town is certainly agreeable to that because these are issues that we think need to be vetted before you all are in a position to make a vote on this matter, whether it be in support with conditions or to deny. So if there are no other matters in December, there's a chance we may not have a meeting. And again, just the way it falls around the holiday, my inclination is that probably will be the case, but we'll see.
Okay, can I have, and we've accepted those meeting dates and
Yep.
We're done. If we don't get together, I wish you all a happy and safe and healthy holiday, both this week and in December.
I'm having about 60 people that I don't know come over to the house for Thanksgiving, just trying to be
All of them wearing
charitable.
helmets. They're coming over in a long ship, I understand.
Yes.
And they'll all be in your driveway.
Yeah. So if any of you are curious, you go on YouTube, and this race is called the Rift, R-I-F-T. And it actually rides out and we circle a volcano and come back. It's 120 miles.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Bob, I've been to Iceland. I can talk to you about it.
Okay, good.
So have I, and I could talk to you about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Great place.
It looks beautiful.
All right.
I've never been, but I want to talk to you about it.
There it is. All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Be safe.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving, everybody.